Hi, it's Laura with Following the Paper Trail, and it's day 2 of the 12 Days of Christmas Projects 2011. And today I have a really pretty little project to show you. This could be an ornament. It could also be a really pretty little packaged dresser-upper kind of thing. And this is a little paper rosette angel. And with this project, you're going to use some white cardstock, some cream cardstock, as well as some vellum. We're going to do some punching on the edges and assemble it all together and use some punch circles and such for her face. So out of the white cardstock, you are going to cut a piece that's 3 inches by 4.5 inches. And with all of these, you're going to score these at every 1/4 of an inch along the wider width. So skirt 3 inches by 4.5. Out of the cream cardstock, you're going to cut a 3/4 of an inch by 5 inch piece. And again, score it at every 1/4 of an inch across its width. Then for the wings, you're going to cut 2 pieces of vellum at 1 3/4 inches by 5.5 inches. Again, you're going to need 2 of these. And again, score them at the 1/4 inch marks. Now, I always score all these pieces first before I do any punched edges, because many times if you want to have the edges punched on a rosette, you will find it is much harder to do the scoring when the edge is already punched. So go ahead and get your scoring done first, and then you will punch them. What I used on this one is the EK Success, these Christmas holiday bows. That's what I used for the bottom of her skirt. And then on the wings, I used Cathedral Arches is what I think this one is called. This is a Martha Stewart punch. But really, any punches that you have will work. Decorative scissors, or you could just leave them plain as well. And then lastly, on her halo, I'm using this cute little one that's got these little hearts, and it's kind of a zigzag. A real small scale one, since that is such a small scale piece. So I've already gone ahead and punched the edges on these. Went ahead and folded my score lines after I punched it, because remember, I scored it first, then punched it, then I went ahead and folded it into the accordion shape. So that's going to give me my skirt. Here are my 2 wings, already folded and punched on the edges. And then I have my halo. Now on the back side of each of these, because they should always end, the halo should end with the ends going down. So I've put a little bit of score tape. You could use glue, if I can get the score tape off, of course. It is never uncooperative when I'm sitting here in my studio by myself. It's only when I've got an audience that it never wants to come off. Now with the wings, I have them end with the last piece up. So then I just slip this guy down in there, stick him down. The other end is going to attach to the other vellum piece. Fold them back into their accordions. And then we're going to do the same sort of thing with the skirt. And the skirt is going to, again, go on top. The skirt and the halo goes on top of the fins of the wings. So I'm going to attach that on there like so. Bring it around to this other side. Attach that one on there. Now it just feels like it's a big out of control. Looks kind of like it would be cute going around a cupcake, doesn't it? So then we're basically, as it is with any rosette, you kind of got to squish it down flat and then bring it into the center. And then we got to hold it. And this is where it always gets tricky. Now I want it going the other way. I've already got a approximate 1 inch circle. This happens to be a scallop circle that I've already got stickiness on the back. I have found an instant adhesive, such as a tape, like score tape, works better than a glue that you have to sit and hold. And that may be just because I tend to be a bit impatient. So glue will work, you just got to sit and hold it for a second. So this first one's going to go on the back side, and I'm going to squeeze this guy all in Sometimes this is a point where it helps to have a second pair of hands, but we want that circle in the middle to be around 1/4 inch maybe. Stick this down, give it a good press down, flip it over. Now I did not cut another circle for the front side, which I quickly need to do. I cut a little bit smaller circle for the front side. I like to use some tape dots. Those, of course, are the little ones. I'm just going to use some sticky tape dots. A couple on them to give a better span across. Then I'm going to just stick that down because it really doesn't stay held until you've got a dot on both sides. So this is basically just going to get covered up. It's just kind of a holding place right there. The next thing I have is I've taken one of the bows from what I used around the base of her dress, and I've just cut a little bow out. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that guy on. And that kind of covers up the circle, which is kind of the bodice of her dress, so to speak. Probably not on camera or too close. And I'm just going to glue that right on there. Then I've made a ring, cutting a 3/4 inch circle around a 1/2 inch circle. It's easiest to cut the inner circle first, so punch out a 1/2 inch circle, and then around it punch out the 1/4 inch circle. And I'm going to cut those in half, and these are going to be her arms. Little dab of glue on the ends. See if I can do this without knocking the tripod out of the way. So stick those down. So that's her little arms. Let's move her arm a little. So there her arms are in place. Next, what I've done is I've cut kind of on this one, I've cut an off-center ring. So when I cut the 1/2 inch circle first, and then I off-centered the 3/4 inch circle. And this is going to be for her halo. This would also be really pretty out of like a metallic cardstock as well. So go ahead and stick that down. This is kind of her halo on top of the halo. Now if you wanted to put a face on this, you can. I kind of like the ambiguity of there being no face. So this is a little 1/2 inch circle. That's going to go right above, like so. And then I have a little flower. Whoa, too much glue. And that's just going to kind of stick down into in between a couple of the folds, the stem of it. And there we go. There's our we've now got 2 little angels out of rosettes. I also have a piece of ribbon, but I'm going to use some tiny little sticky dots to make a loop. And then we'll stick that to the back side so that you can also glue this on, obviously. Just attach that to that circle in the back. And there we go. Some rosette angels, good to go. So anyway, rosette angels, project 2 of the 12 projects of Christmas. Back soon with project 3. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.